Well, if I did that with my head all day long, my head would probably fall off, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Worse things have happened to me. Having my head fall off could be one of the best things that have happened to me. However, one of the best things that are happening to you, if you are actually going to be watching this today, and most of you are probably down on holiday somewhere. It's, what is it, bank holiday weekend in the UK today, or it's about to start, and every day is a bank holiday in the United States with the great president we have. Every day is a holiday here. Every day is a fun show. Welcome to Silverstone Live on Facebook with recorded videos available here on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel immediately after the live show. Each week I focus on lifestyle and entertainment and sort of anything else that comes along that sort of interests me, really. Not stamp collecting and painting houses. That doesn't work for me. Just post your thoughts and comments like you do every week during the live show, only the live show, below the live stream that you're watching now. My guest will address as many as possible in the next hour. Sometimes we have so many that all the guest does is answer questions and doesn't get a chance to say anything. So we'll see what happens. Once a month, our fashion guru joins me with some savvy observations and tips and advice. And Cecil is right now in our virtual green room. Sound is turned off, so she can't hear what I'm saying. No, actually, sound is turned off, so I can't hear her. She can hear what I'm saying, so I'm going to be very nice. But she's in our virtual green room. She's having some lovely, expensive pink wine, and she will be joining me in about 3.5 minutes. But first, I have a few thoughts of my own that I wanted to share about today's topic. And if you've been reading the promos and watching the promos, you know what today's topic, or who today's topic, is all about. Meghan Markle's style pre-Duchess of Sussex wasn't the train wreck which seems to be true of most Hollywood actresses. They tend to be clueless about reflecting their own personality in their clothes choices. Meghan knew what worked for her, and especially in casual clothes, she nailed the look which showed off her beauty and her confidence in an effortless and stylish manner. It was simple, it was stunning. And as far as Hollywood women go, the only exception for me is Angelina Jolie, who has matured into an ambassador for her many causes, dressing in outfits which do not focus on her physical assets, but reveal her strong, independent female character. Meghan Markle has a lot of fudge room since she has crossed from Rodeo Drive to Kensington Palace, so she can carry off some pizzazz as she's comfortable in front of the paparazzi lenses. Meghan is American, so she can favor some of her homeland's designers and meld them with her adopted country's fashion houses. Her husband, unlike his brother, doesn't have to worry about following in the footsteps of Granny, a cause for concern of his late mum. He and Meghan have much more freedom to break rules. They are not restricted as much as Granny's late sister, Princess Margaret, who, like Diana, was prevented from freedoms which Harry and Meghan can now enjoy, since we assume the Queen recognises the disastrous mistakes the family firm made in both cases. And it appears that the Queen adores her grandson, so that helps as well. The rule book was chucked out the window the day Harry announced he was marrying a foreign divorced actress of mixed race and different religion. The hard part's over. The rest is pretty simple to sort out. From the editorials I've read in leading fashion magazine, Meghan Markle's style is boosting retail sales because of her every woman appeal. Her style is effortless and accessible. The Duchess's casual style choices are the kind of items that women actually buy on a regular basis and are the ones that retailers love to profit from selling. And indeed, Hollywoodland stars, both current and past, who have a put-together casual look are the ones who end up having the biggest impact on the retail world. Then you see the other stars caught by paparazzi who look like they just crawled out of bed. And sadly, the thing is, once you buy into the world of showbiz and celebrity and royalty, you have to make an effort, even when just going to the supermarket, because you wield a powerful influence on your fans who are also consumers. So that was my opening comment. Anne is about to join me after a rare glimpse of the former Miss Markle on her wedding night. Let's roll some tape. Meghan. Let's see if Anne's in the out of the green room and still has some wine, or I don't know. There she is. Hello, Anne.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. You sound very distant.
Oh, well, maybe I'll move up a little bit.
Or maybe I'll just make the volume louder, and when we start getting people commenting, we got a thumbs up already. I don't know what that means and who's giving us a thumbs up. I think it's a thumb. I'm not quite sure what it is. So, that was my opening gambit. We don't have to comment on it, but it was remarkably sensible and was 100% accurate, wouldn't you say so?
I'm shocked at how remarkably sensible and accurate it actually was. However, I do want the audience to know, if this is the first time that you're joining Phil with me, I can't see what he shows you on the screen, and he did not allow me pre-approval of what you saw about Meghan Markle's wedding night. So I had nothing to do with that, people, and I just want you to know I don't even know what it was except for what he told me that it was.
I sent you the video of it. It's Meghan Markle taking off her top, but you only see the back of her, and it must be from Suits. If anyone knows what it was from, you can let me know. I assume it's from Suits. So anyway, I've got lots of photographs here that Anne and I have reviewed, and Anne is going to make some stunning comments about the transformation of Meghan Markle from Rodeo Drive, or whichever drive she went to Kensington Palace. How's she doing, Anne?
So, well, I wanted to share with everybody that, last time I think I was on, we talked about the fact that the Queen had sent her to princess school. And it's probably been a couple of months now that she's been there. So I thought it would be a really good time to kind of review sort of how she's doing in terms of the protocol. And so the first thing I would like to comment just a moment on what you did say about her in her Hollywood life, if you don't mind, because I think you accurately got it. I think one of the things she's done quite well is that she has always presented herself in a very well put together way that is in line with her confidence and who she is. So I think that it's really important to start with that as we look at some of the things that we're about to talk about. And the princess school, I want to also make sure everybody understands, is that princess school is about protocol on high-level public events. So we're really just kind of looking today at when she's out at something where she is one of the highest-ranking females from the royal family, and she's in a situation where she's on big public display, and so she has to follow a certain set of rules. There are other moments in her life where she doesn't have to. And, behind closed doors, I'm sure that she has a very, she's more like her style in LA. But on these public appearances, I think it's really important for us to take a look see what she's doing. So Phil dug up a few images from her pre-HRH life. And Phil, I'm just wondering if you could put up the black dress from pre and the image of her in the black fitted formal dress with her husband.
The black dress from Pre.
Yeah, the bandage dress that is very bodycon.
The black dress from Pre. I got tights. Ah, so the black dress from Pre is going to be, what did you call it? Oh, is that the one with her butt sticking out?
The bandage dress, she's like turned to the side.
Yeah, with her bottom sticking out. That's a lovely photograph of her. And what do you want me to put next to it?
So there's a lovely photo of her in an A-line black dress with her husband in full military regalia. It is HRH black fitted formal dress.
HRH black fitted formal. Thank you for telling me that. Let's get her husband out the way here, and there she is. Wow. I prefer her as she was, Anne.
Pardon? You prefer her as she was?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's some of the things that I think we should just talk about, because I know that Phil, because I know Phil really well, will probably prefer her pre-HRH images more than her post. But here's also one thing that I would like everybody in the audience to consider. The images that Phil has chosen for pre-HRH are also styled in a very particular way for a very particular reason. The ones we're looking at tonight are not really off the cuff, just catching her in a moment as she's walking around in the middle of her life in LA. These are actual photographs that were taken for a purpose and had an agenda behind them. And so they have been styled very appropriately for whatever the use of those images was. And I have a feeling that this one was probably a promo for Suits in some way, the one that you really like.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's the one I have on my wall. I just wanted to mention to you.
Okay. Well, some of the things that I wanted to talk about in terms of her style is, so what is interesting to me is that if you look at that pre-HRH image that we have up there, it is very fitted, but it is fitted. It is also a pretty appropriate length. It's right about to the knee. So now if you look at the image of her with her husband in the post-HRH world, she is wearing a very fitted A-line dress, which is, again, about to the knee. And so it, yes, has toned down sort of the bodycon and the sexy, but it still is fitted and nicely showing her shape. So she's altered that Hollywood sexy and bombshell sexy into something that is still very appealing for her form. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say about that. The second thing that I wanted to say about that is that the midi dress for women in her age, and for more women outside of her age group, but particularly for women in her age group, is actually still very on trend. So, in fact, this style of dress and this length of dress is something that you will see on the high street in the UK and in all of the shopping districts in the United States. It is something that women are wearing and have been wearing, and that trend continues to be very, very strong. So, she is still being stylish and fashionable, and as you said, she is influencing the high street. So that, I think, is one of the things that I wanted to say about that one. So the next pairing that I wanted to look at...
I was going to ask you, Anne, do you mind if I just block you out of the screen and keep that one up from your side of the screen, the whole show? That you wouldn't mind?
I mean, I know it's much better than my view, so go ahead.
No.
If that's your inspiration and your muse for the show, go ahead, Phil.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. It's a sad day, isn't it? Or it's a wonderful day when your pin-up is a princess married to the spare. Or, excuse me, a duchess married to the spare of the royal family. I mean, who would have thought that would ever happen? What's the next pairing you would like? I'm going to look for it here on my pairing page.
Okay, so pre-HRH sandals, which is a white dress that we have there.
Yeah. And
the HRH that we're looking at, and I'm sorry, people, that you're getting not a very pretty view of my face right now, but I had to lean forward, is called HRH formal white ... hat.
HRH formal white dress. HRH. Oh, formal white dress. Is that the one?
I think so.
Okay.
Is this the one that has the? It has like a mesh sleeve and top and a hat.
Okay. Let me see.
And I'm sorry, I just don't have the full names of.
We are having a technical issue here, so let me see if I can do anything about it. Let me see why we're having this problem. HRH. It was the.
It's a formal white dress and hat.
Yes. Oh, there it is. I see why I was having an issue with it. It's a very, very narrow one, and we have to try to match it up with the pre-HRH sandals, which of course was an ad no, it came off of Twitter, yes. Let me see. Let's get that there. Now I can see what's going on. Yeah, we can squeeze it all on the screen. There it is. Okay.
So, again, in that white dress, little too short, little too sleeveless. These are things that we're going to talk about in a little bit more in a second. In the other dress, this is actually one of the dresses she wore, I think, when they announced her engagement, this white dress with the HRH and the hat. And what I also think is really interesting to look at here is, so this particular dress is very kind of different from the dress that we're seeing, but the mesh across the top and down the sleeve is still allowing the illusion of skin, even though she's not showing skin. So this is a device we can use in fashion to show and entice, but not reveal in actuality. So one of the other things that I wanted to point out about this white dress that she's wearing is she does have on, and you can see her tights. We talked before about how she often showed up without tights on, and that was a definite no-no. One of the things that I think is really interesting about that is, while tights or hose are required for official events, again, remember, we're talking about official events, there is no color that has been designated. So I actually think she kind of has on a white tight or hose in this particular image, but most often you'll see her with nude hose. And that really is only, again, because that's what's on trend in hosiery this year. So she is very much following the trends and showing the trends on a world stage.
Okay, I'm going to take those off, if you'll excuse the expression. And
okay, so the last pairing was the pre-HRH red dress and the yellow.
What do you mean? What do you mean the last pairing? I got like 3 dozen pairings here. Are you blowing out all my pairings?
Okay. I don't know. I'm using other ones, but I wanted to talk about these 3 pairs because these are the pre and post.
So right? Which ones would you like me to show now?
So this next one is pre-HRH, and I want the audience to remember that you named these files. Not me. Again, I had nothing to do with this. This is called pre-HRH busty red dress.
I don't know if I've... Okay. I don't know who... I'm doing a Johnny Carson. I don't know who I'm looking at. I'm looking at the band. I'm looking at, I don't know, Tommy or whatever. Okay, let's put the busty one up. Nothing wrong with that.
And the other problem that I had, the other one I wanted you to pair that with was the yellow.
Okay, I don't know if I can do that because the busty one is a double-sided photo, and I think we need to leave it on a bit longer so I can make sure I can get it fitting on the screen. The other one was the HRH long yellow dress. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
How can you compare? Let me see. Yeah, I can't. Okay, I'm going to have to switch between the two. So I'm going to take the busty one off a minute. Well, in about half an hour. No, I'll take the busty one off now. Okay, so there's the yellow one. What on earth are you going to compare the two? How are you going to compare? Why are you going to compare the two? I mean, what's the two got in common? Let me cover my face while I'm trying to make a sensible statement here. I can't see why you would pair those two, other than the fact that this one does show off some, not cleavage, but some bust.
So what I'm going to talk about here is color. And color is really important because these are two very bright, vibrant, attention-getting colors, right? So bright red and bright yellow. And one of the things that's really important when you are a royal, and I think we have talked about this before in terms of the Queen wears a lot of really bright colors, and she wears them because when she is in a crowd, people want to see her. And so they need to be able to easily identify her. Well, this is also true now because Meghan is one of the prominent women in the royal family. She also does, when she is in a large crowd, need to wear color. And I thought the yellow was a fantastic choice for her. It's really in right now. It's really hot with millennials. We saw it at her wedding on George Clooney's wife. It was a beautiful yellow dress. It made quite a statement. It also, the yellow screams LA, but is still, in the way she's wearing it, very appropriate for whatever she's out doing.
I just want to have a quick flash of the busty one again, but I mean that does not look as beautiful as the yellow one, and the yellow one does not look royal or regal. It just looks like somebody who's dressed nicely for... I thought it was a Wimbledon event. It's probably a garden party. I can't tell what it is.
It may have been Wimbledon. I'm not exactly sure where she wore it. But Phil, you and I've been doing this together for a long time. What's wrong with that red dress?
Oh, the red dress. Let me go back again. I didn't really have a good look at it. Let me have a good look at it.
From Anne's rules, what's wrong with that dress?
Well, from Anne's rules, you always told me that you show more of one thing, but not of both things. So it's showing too much at the top and too much at the bottom. It needs to show either one or the other. Have I learned anything from your class?
You have. Thank you so much for saying that. I clap. So, if you want to show your cleavage, go on and have at it.
Me?
But don't also show your legs.
Listen, Anne, I never show my cleavage and my legs at the same time. I've learned that from you. I did learn that from you. Yeah.
I mean, you've got to just make sure you pick one of your assets and let that shine.
What if you're like me and you don't have a single asset to show?
Oh, for heaven's sakes! Now stop.
No, seriously. What? Listen, I've watched these videos back, and I'm now not watching them anymore. I'm watching them like this. I put my hand over my side of the screen. Anyway, we won't get into that. What else do you want? I've got so many others here. What else do I have here?
Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to see, if I could, was the black trouser suit.
Oh yes, I saw that a minute ago. This is the pre.
No, this is an HRH event.
What? This is an HRH trouser suit, right? So let me see. HRH black trouser suit coming on the screen this minute. There it is.
So I wanted to tell everybody that really quite often we do see her in midi styles that are neutrals and darks. And she's often wearing a dress or a two-piece, so a skirt and a top, which often looks like a dress, okay? She is following kind of the tights and hose where required. Also, I wanted to let everybody notice that if you look at her nails in these pictures, they will be very light. This is because the Queen does not like dark nail polish, so it's in deference to her. And nude as a color happens to be on trend right now, so a lot of the nudes and neutrals that you see are actually trend appropriate at this point. But the trouser suit, I wanted to get back to the trouser suit. So in princess rules, you are not allowed to wear black unless you are Princess Diana. So I find this very interesting because we've seen two black outfits now. And I'm wondering if this is an homage to Diana or if this is just Meghan doing her thing. I'm wondering if she's getting away with it, with the Queen, because it is connected to Diana and she is married to Diana's son. So I just think this is it's interesting.
When you say that it was only allowed for Diana, you meant that Diana did it and got away with it, right?
Yes. So in fact, outside of mourning, if you are in mourning, then that is actually would be appropriate. But it was Diana who wore black to events. Again, remember, we're talking about official events here, and that's where it's really important. So I like very much that Meghan has made this choice. Now, the second thing that's really interesting is this trouser suit, because trouser suits have been worn for official engagements, but it's very, very rare to see it. And she has done it on more than one occasion. So what I love about this photo is that it's the double whammy, because it's black and it's a trouser suit. So I think it's great that she's stirring it up. It's also very modern. It is very on trend. It is also very American, kind of in its way that it looks. And it really is something that feels very much like a hipper royal.
Yeah.
So that one I really wanted to point out. Okay.
Yes.
Did you have something else you wanted to comment on with that?
Yeah, well, I wanted to touch on something that I'm very, very curious about, especially with what's going on in the world at the moment and the chaos that's just swirling around the UK with Brexit and everything. I'm wondering whether, and she may have already started this, I already said at the beginning of the show that she can get away with favoring her homeland designers, and of course she will favor, she's already, I think she's already wearing Stella McCartney, but I'm wondering if she'll develop close relationships with major design houses both sides of the Atlantic, plus, I mean, of course, the design houses, the big ones in Paris and in Milan, despite the Brexit situation, whether there'll still be a relationship with those traditional central locations for the great fashions of the world. What do you think about that? You don't know, but I just wonder if you got any thoughts on that.
Well, so one of the things that is interesting is that it's an interesting question about what the Brexit situation is at the moment and how everybody is going to react. So the one thing there's a couple of things that I would say. One is, yes, I think she can get away with favoring some American designers. I think she will incorporate more British designers, particularly in her official capacity. And I think that the interesting part is what I would guess about the fashion houses in Europe. They are still going to want to be on the world stage in the royal house.
Yeah.
And Meghan has the bonus for them of actually being non-English in her heritage. So it would seem to me that they could have a connection with her through the fact that she is not English, that would allow them to still be on the world stage on her.
Yeah, I think she has so much more flexibility than anyone who's come before her. Now, she and Harry are still flavor of the month, and I think that they'll be more interesting in the long run, because what they always called in the UK the heir and the spare was always a non-event. Princess Margaret was seemed like a lovely woman, but her life was screwed up. The previous spare was her father, the Queen's father, who ended up being the king. I'm just wondering if there's longevity here, because the Duchess seems to be right now, both sides of the Atlantic, the retail world's biggest gift, because from what I can see, and practically everything she's photographed in sells out. I've heard of one item that sold out like 11 minutes after it hit social media.
Well, I think that just to put that in perspective, that has also been true of Kate Middleton. So if you want to sell something, put it on Kate. Now, if you want to sell it, put it on either one of them and let it rip. Daily, when I'm looking at my news feed, the 40-pound dress that Kate Middleton wore from Zara sold out. the $50 dress from H&M Meghan Markle wore
Yeah.
sold out, right? So they both are really driving fashion. I think it's great, though, because they really are speaking. I mean, what is wonderful is they are speaking to a an audience that is really interested in what they're wearing. And one of the things that's kind of interesting about it is that you really are seeing them at these official events where there is a protocol. So there is a dress code. It's a little bit different than like when we see the red carpet at the Oscars, or when we see, celebrities that just happen to be out and about or at a club, or, all of these things. I mean, Kim Kardashian has been in my feed all week wearing neoprene brights. And she's going to clubs and she's going to weddings, of other rappers. And so she has a much more freedom in what she chooses to wear. And she has obviously an influence, of course, also on the high street. But what she's wearing, I think it's interesting because what she is wearing is not subject to a strict protocol as Kate and Meghan are. And so the fact that people are responding to what is correct within a protocol, which is fairly traditional, is an interesting thing to me.
Yeah,
and a good thing.
Sorry.
And a good thing.
I had read during doing just a small amount of research, which stunned me that it was something I came across from 2015. So I mean, it's 3 years old, and it was a brand finance report that estimated that Kate Middleton had generated $200 million worth in sales. Now, what a shame she can't get an official endorsement and pocket some of the profits from that. She could put it to charity, but regardless, I mean, that's the impact that they felt. And they're saying now that Meghan, and that was 3 years ago, so we don't know what it is at this point, but they're saying now that Meghan is going to surpass that. And I would guess that Kate, and hopefully or probably soon when Meghan gets pregnant, the companies that sell clothes for expectant mothers, they're probably getting ready to have a boom when they see the clothes that they wear. So what we should start doing now is figuring out when she's going to get pregnant and invest whatever we've got into the companies. Of course, there are no bricks and mortar stores anymore, so we just might as well plow it all into Amazon, right?
Well, there are bricks and mortar stores, and those ladies are shopping at them, thankfully. I did also just want to say, this, though, is a phenomenon that is interesting in the world because I don't know if all of our audience will remember this, but certainly you might. When in the first inaugural event with President Obama and Michelle and the two girls, the outfit that Michelle wore and the outfit that the girls wore sold out in like hotcakes in a second.
Yep.
So, it is our influences come from everywhere now. And it's really nice to see that people adopt things that come from a protocol and people adopt things that come from the freedom to choose whatever you like. And that's, I think, is a very nice, it's nice that people are choosing from both sides of the buffet.
Hang on, I'm just getting something in. Hang on, I'm just getting something in here. Apparently, we've been talking for 35 minutes, and since we started, the sales of Tommy Bahama hats that I'm wearing here have plummeted by 5,000%, and the stock market is tumbling because of it. Can you believe that? I mean, there you are. There's the difference, right? Hi, Rabina. Thanks for coming along. So anyway,
so I wanted to get back to something because this is something I'd really like the audience to chime in on, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Could you put up the picture of Meghan? I'm just going to find the name of it for you. This is the off the shoulder dress. This is HRH pink top bare shoulders hat.
There it is.
Okay. So I really wanted to talk about this because this is sort of like the princess rule breaker again. It's another one. And I wanted to talk just a little bit about sleeveless and short dresses in terms of this. Now, there was a huge controversy over this dress or top. I'm not sure if it's a skirt and top, but she wore this on the Queen's birthday parade. So I would like our audience to kind of chime in if you think this is inappropriate or if you think this is stunning, while I just kind of give you a little bit here about what we're thinking about. So sleeveless and short dresses are a no-no in the protocol on these official visits, but mostly it doesn't really have to do with the fact that there's anything wrong with sleeveless or particularly short. It's just that generally on these visits, there's a lot of leaning over, there's a lot of walking involved. So the outfits and the garments are often chosen as to be commensurate with what they have to do at that particular event. So you can imagine if Meghan was wearing the red dress to an event where she would be walking, say, down the mall and leaning over and shaking hands with small children, it could be a problem. However, in this particular instance, she's in the carriage. She's really not moving around a lot. She's sitting and, her shoulders are revealed. Her cleavage is well covered here. And she's in, again, a lovely nude outfit. So this neutral is kind of a pinky nude, which is very nice. And it's a Phillip Treacy hat. And she, in fact, chose this outfit to go with the hat. So it has our audience anything to say about this particular image?
I don't think our audience has anything to say about anything. I'm waiting for Rubina to say something because she normally is the spokesperson for everyone. So, Rubina, you love the hat. What do you think about the... let me put it back up again. You just saw it. What do you think? Do you think, Rubina, you're in Scotland, do you think this is an appropriate outfit for a member of the royal family? Have to say, Meghan is the most beautiful creature. The freckles, the little pointy nose, the beautiful shoulders. She is the Grace Kelly of our age.
She has a lovely smile. I mean, when she is natural, she has a lovely, lovely smile.
She does. That's the only thing that we've got in common, really. I can't smile at the moment because I had 2 teeth removed and I've got chewing gum in the holes because I couldn't afford a good dentist. Rubina says there's nothing wrong with the outfit. She thinks it's appropriate. I don't think there's anything wrong, and I don't think anyone, as I said at the beginning, I don't think anyone is going to actually start making any waves about her because otherwise they'll end up with the Diana syndrome. And so I think to that extent, she can probably show up, nude.
Well, but here's the thing. So this is the gift and the debacle of life as a young HRH, right? Because now we have social media. And she was slammed on social media for wearing this, as well as defended on social media.
Fake news.
Yes. However, I will just say, at least in Diana's time, there was not constant in everybody's feed about how good or bad she looked with her choices.
Oh, but wait a minute.
But the paparazzi got her, absolutely.
There's a big difference. In Diana's day, we really didn't have social media like we have now.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you... Okay, I misunderstood what you meant.
Diana was not under the microscope. She was under a microscope through the paparazzi and what was said in the newspapers.
Yeah.
And the traditional forms of media. But these young ladies are under it at all times. And I think it's really difficult now because every move you make is recorded.
I think social media I think they have to pretty well ignore social media and do what they think is right. I have to show this photo because I think this is the pre-HRH. No, we've done that. The one that I wanted to show was Oh, the pre-HRH, there's two here that I picked out because I thought they showed how she looked casually. This is the one
Yes.
in her shorts.
Yes.
And this is just a very blurry photograph. But even there, when she was, I guess, a young actress, just wearing a pair of shorts, casual shoes, a bag, a slightly large bag slung over her shoulder, even casual, she looked amazing. You know, I think her clean hair has a lot to do with it. And then the other thing is I found this one, which of course is very sexy, but then again, it's not showing skin. And this is her laying on a sofa in those leotards or those tights. Yep. Now, most actresses would have had the top button open and they would have had bare legs. But even there, she does that. It was probably expected of her for a photo shoot to promote something, but she did it. She must have said, hey, I don't do nudity. This is just as sexy. And I have to say that I think that's more sexy than if she was to bare it all.
Well, I completely agree with you. And I think that in both of those instances, and even when we talked about the first pre-HRH black dress that she was wearing, again, it didn't show a lot of skin. It didn't show a lot of cleavage. It showed the shape of her body, which was lovely. This, too, is not showing a lot of skin. It shows her assets very nicely here. And she's not trying to show really more than one asset in either of these black images that we have her in. I think the shorts are also very lovely, and they totally show American, classic, cool. And I think it's a great transition into the next one that I'd love you to show, which is the pink trench coat, the pink raincoat, the HRH raincoat.
Yes, let me see if I can find the HRH pink raincoat, and I can. And it's coming on your screen now.
I love this look. I think this is the epitome of adopting British cool. It is an iconic British item as a trench coat. It's been reinvented as a sleeveless dress. It's in that lovely nude pinky color that she wears so well. And I will say, I just want to make a note for our audience. This color does not work for everybody, but for Meghan's complexion, this is a winner. She really can wear this quite well. Look at the hair and how casual it's kind of pulled back. It's got the little tendrils out. She's got a very on-point structured handbag. They're coming back right now as a clutch. And look at the great shoes. They're almost a booty, but they're still a pump. And they really have that lovely detail on the front, which I think might be either a ribbon or a piece of chiffon that gives it a little femininity. I think here is like British cool all over.
Yeah, and that's...
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say this is something where sleeveless is not going to be a problem because she can walk in this dress, she can lean over in this dress and not have something revealed. This is a fabulous look for her.
I would say a dress like that, if you saw it in a shop on a hanger, you would probably say, "Oh, it's not much." But with the right person, as you say, and it's all about, you've said this so often, it's all about attitude and whether you feel comfortable wearing it. Every time I look at that photo, I'm just going to pop it back up again. I keep thinking that she would look great in a pair of maybe white sneakers in that coat. It's, I see that as a sneaker coat. And I don't see why, if she's not on an official engagement or she's just going to like an event for kids. Well, I'm not sure what what her causes are, but I think I think anything she wears could be dynamic. So you didn't want me to show the long grey dress. Why?
Just because I didn't think, I just don't think it's the most flattering, but it wasn't so much that it wasn't the most flattering. It was also that it didn't kind of relate to sort of the themes that I wanted to bring out.
All right.
And what I wanted to just say about what you just said is, if she had on platform sneakers, say, which are a hot item right now with this, okay, it would look very US cool. And also, if she had on, there's a big trend right now for designer running shoe sneakers. That's huge. So that would be a very New York look. I think this is an extremely London look, to be quite honest. Like, this really speaks London to me. And the only thing I would have liked to have seen here, and I know everybody knows that I'm a little critical, is I don't really mind the belt, but I would have loved to have seen a real belt that was an additional accessory here, as opposed to just the tie. Even though the tie is more true to the trench, I would have just liked to have seen another, an accessorized belt there.
Now I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know Rose Caporaletti, who makes hats?
I know Rose Caporaletti. I don't know if she makes hats. I used to make hats.
Well, you have somebody here who has said, who I know from the show, and Cecil, Rose Caporaletti's friend who makes hats. So this is Samantha Howard. Do you know Samantha Howard?
I might know Samantha if I saw Samantha.
Well, I have her on the screen, but you can't see the screen. Samantha likes wearing hats as well. You can write on here, Samantha, how you know Rose Rose C, and and how you know who. But Anne, Samantha, just so you know, Anne has been on my podcast for the last 3 years, and she's on our podcast, I should say now, and on this show at least once a month. Anne is the fashion guru of Philadelphia, and also Anne is now the shoe manufacturer of exclusive, unique. What's the word I'm looking for? Artisans. She is a Philadelphia artisan of shoes. That's the word I was looking for, and I couldn't get to that. I want to ask you something else, Anne. Before Harry came along, before they could make a film when Meghan met Harry, right? And she could do that scene in the restaurant. I think that's the same film. I'm not sure. Yeah. So I saw photographs of some smoky eyeshadow, bright red lipstick, and some false eyelashes. Do you think we'll be seeing any of that stuff now?
Well, I don't really think so, because one thing is there is a trend for that, but that's more of an evening look. So perhaps when we see her more going out or going to the club, we may see some more of that kind of look. But the natural look is always in with makeup, and she's playing it off beautifully here. One of the things I also love, I just have to say about this refined, sleeveless trench, is I love the look on her face. She looks like she's up to something. She just has a little I'm up to something kind of thing there. And I think it's just so great. She looks cool. She looks confident. She looks casual. And she looks like she's enjoying herself. So this was one that I really wanted to show to everybody. I know we're getting close to the end, and there was just one thing that I wanted to add about thinking about the wardrobes of the royals. And this goes for all of them. And I really hadn't thought about it. So I dug it up, and I thought I'd share it with our audience. What is most important for them for their garments for these official occasions is actually the fabric, because they are always photographed from all sides. And so you really need to think about what it is you're going to put on your body that will not wrinkle, will not, look disheveled, that will not stretch in odd places if you sit down and then you stand up and it looks like, you're still sitting, right? So one of the things that I think is really interesting is that they also have to have durable garments. And this is one reason why often the royals go back to the same designers, because the designers, when they first start with the royals, don't really understand these two important elements. And so it takes them a while to get it. But once they get it, then the royal feels like, oh, you can always design for me because now you understand what has to happen. So they often choose silk and a silk wool blend for their garments. And this, of course, would mean that you mostly, so then the silhouette of what you're going to wear is kind of defined by the fabric that you need to start with. So sometimes some of these fashion choices may end up being made and may look a particular way simply because the fabric that you need in order to do what you're doing dictates the structure of the garment.
Right, yes.
So I just thought that was an interesting thing and probably something none of us really think about when we're looking at the fashion that they're wearing.
That's a very interesting point. I have a photograph that I want to put up. I just put it up for a second, and I'm putting it up now. This is HRH garden party white dress. Now, there's two reasons why I put this up. Firstly, I looked at it twice because if you look at her expression, she almost looks like Diana in that photo. I don't know if you have a copy of it in front of you.
I do.
But she has like a Diana look. The other thing that is, and I put it up now because of what you just said, the one thing that you never notice, and you notice in this, is that she's been sitting because it's creased at the bottom.
Yes.
You never notice. Everyone always looks so picture perfect. And this one must be of a material which creases a bit. But it was not so much that, and I'm not going to pick fault with that. I mean, she's a human being, and she's wearing human being clothes. But that expression so reminded me of Diana, it was uncanny. And that's why I put it up.
I would agree. And I also think actually kind of the stance and the way that the hat is kind of hiding part of her face, because Diana used to always kind of do a look like this. She used to always kind of look down and look up at you, and she often had a hat.
Yeah.
It was like her signature look. I used to always call it the Diana when people would do it. And so, she's kind of tilted down at a slight angle, so it's a little different than the true Diana look. But Diana often had a brim that kind of only revealed part of her face. And it's really great. I mean, I love this look, and I think this look is really nice for a garden party, but it's a great one to bring up right now because you do see the crease. And so this is something that perhaps, it's a garden party. People sit. I'm not sure that anybody's going to slam her for a crease. But had this been a really high event, official event, this may have had more of a response.
Yes. And there's another photograph I'm going to put on the screen now. And for some reason, it also reminds me of Diana. And perhaps somewhere in the back of my head, there's a photograph I saw back in the day of Diana wearing a striped shirt. But I love this look. Yes. In this blue striped shirt, just the way that it's a simple top, but I can see she's wearing sort of a wide brim Panama type hat, and it is so perfect for polo or for horse racing or for Wimbledon. And I just like the way her shoulders fit it. The whole thing, it seems to have a higher collar to it as well. It's almost like the collar's been popped up, but it's naturally sitting higher. I think that photo is fabulous. And
I totally agree with you. And I'm going to tell you, this is, in fact, this look is classic American sportswear done beautifully.
Yeah.
And, so it is, I think, just because I can see a bit of a shine on that shirt, that may be a silk shirt or it's a very fine Pima cotton. It is definitely just a classic button-down Oxford shirt with her sleeves rolled up, and look at how the cuff has that diagonal on it, which just gives it that little bit of twist and interest.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the pants, I'm going to tell you that those pants are either cotton or linen because, again, we can see the creases there.
They look to me like, my first thought was linen, and
yes,
I would love to know whose hat that is, but that is I think that's a unisex hat. I mean, I think Harry could get away with it as well. That is absolutely, I think, of all the photographs that we've put up today, that one is really and truly my total favorite, because it's something she looks so comfortable in, and it just suits her. It just suits her so beautifully, and that was really interesting. I mean, the other thing that we've still got a few minutes left here. While I was reading, as much as I could, and I've touched on this like with a private personal observation about 20 minutes ago, but the beauty experts have noted that Meghan Markle's makeup hasn't changed very dramatically at all, though she's made, according to them, some subtle tweaks, but her freckles are still center stage on her face, and I think that's wonderful, because it's cute, and it's young, and it's not doctoring something that is a little wonderful piece of adornment from Mother Nature.
Right, I totally agree. I also think it's lovely, and I would also say that, in the British Isles, there's many people who have freckles. People with British heritage have freckles. My whole body is one big freckle. And, I think it's lovely that she is celebrating them as opposed to trying to hide them. They are part of who you are. And, and they add their own aesthetic to who you become.
Well,
I think it's lovely.
Who you become and who you became in the last 3 or 4 minutes that we've got left. You became Philadelphia's, as I said, lady of the shoes. You've been showing on social media some of the great shoes you've been making. And I want everyone to go to RoxanneLava.com, which has been on the screen the whole time Anne's been on the show, and you can see what Anne makes, and you can order them. She doesn't take anything less than 5 dozen pairs at a time, right?
One pair at a time. And can I just give a plug about that, because I'm really proud of something that I just delivered to a friend. I have a friend who is a scholar, and I met her in my scholarly years, and we bonded over one of my favorite fashion designers, Elsa Schiaparelli. And I think that many of our listeners might know who Schiaparelli is, but if you don't, look her up, because she was tremendously interesting. And she made some really interesting garments in conjunction with the Surrealist movement. And my scholar friend is helping me with a project on Tumblr that I'm doing called The Art of the Mule, and you are all invited to participate. It's a blog where you can put in any kind of mule, which is the shoe mule we're talking about, a slide, and we're collecting them, kind of like Burberry's Art of the Trench. And in kind for her health, I have made her a pair of my shoes in Schiaparelli fashion, and I have just posted them last night on Instagram because she just received them yesterday. So if you go to my website, you click on my Instagram feed, you can see these fabulous, fun, inspired by Schiaparelli shoes that I'm very proud of and was excited to make for my friend.
I think I just saw them on there, but I'll go back and have another look.
With the eyeball and the lips?
No, I'll have to go back and take another look.
They're really quite good.
I do
say so myself.
I didn't say hello to Joan Williams, if Joan is still with us. We're coming up to the end of the show. For those of you who are watching this after the live broadcast on YouTube around the world, please don't be afraid to post below this video any thoughts you have, whether you agree or disagree with what Anne said today. We don't have too many comments, although we do get a lot of viewers, as you can see. I mean, for us it's a lot because we've only started this show relatively recently, and the last time Anne was on, we had, I think, which was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had 11,500 people watch it, which for us is great because we don't promote it. It's word of mouth, and it's people that just come across it. But it would be terrific if you like it, if you would share these YouTube We're on live on Facebook now, but if you would share when you're watching it on YouTube with your friends, just click the share button. And also, if you'd comment underneath, let us know where you are watching us, which part of the world you're watching. I'm trying to be grammatically correct. Which part of the world you live in when you're watching us. And if you're involved in any way in the fashion world, and if you have any questions for Anne down the way, if you'd like to use something that you have in mind or a question you have as a topic, or if you're a budding fashionista, fashion mogul, whatever you are, if you're in the fashion world or somehow interested in it, just embrace this show, and especially these features with Anne, and become part of it. Join us. Become a producer of this show and tell us what you want to do. Rabina, I agree with you. Rabina has the last word today. She says, can't wait for Anne to come back on. So, Anne, we have just hit 1 hour and 1 minute and 1 second. Have a lovely weekend. You are at the New Jersey seaside, and enjoy it there. And I will be talking to you, I'm sure, in the coming week when I find an item of clothing that really interests me. I will take a photo of it.
Sorry about that.
That's an aeroplane flying by, yes, with a banner at the back saying, turn off that bloody show, we can't hear what we're doing. On that note, Anne,
didn't drop a bomb.
Ladies and germs, I love you all. We will see you
Bye,
next
everybody.
week. Bye-bye, Anne. Bye-bye, Anne. See you soon.
All righty.